You're up. You're up.
Okay. Can I just close this window? Or do I need to mute it?
Minimize.
Okay, Deborah.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me.
Sure.
I'm going to go ahead and maybe wait a few minutes, see if anybody else joins.
Well, I know at least one person was saying they were going to pay by Venmo.
Oh,
I
yeah.
saw this morning. I need to pay you too. I just don't, my PayPal, anyway, I need to figure out my
Oh, no problem.
technology.
No, you're good. We are also live on YouTube right now.
Oh, okay.
Just so you know.
Okay.
Let's not share any.
Are they going to see my face or anything? No, right?
I think it's just on the cooking part.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just very lazy today.
No problem. Okay. Well, I'm just going to begin. I'm going to see if I can. So there's like a mandatory wait room on here. So I'm going to have to just pay attention to see if anybody.
Okay.
You want me to sit right there and I can
Yeah.
digital assistant?
Yeah, that'd be great. So Jenny's going to help to see if anybody joins.
Okay.
Then she'll let them in. Yay. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to speak a little bit about what we're doing today. I think I sent you the recipe, but you can, since this is live on YouTube, you can always go back whenever you're ready and check it out.
Okay.
Basically, I wanted to start off with what intentional cooking actually is, or what we mean by that. As you know, we practice Vedic cooking, intentional cooking. And so first I'm going to go over what the ancient scriptures talk about in what these modes are. So basically, okay, so everything is in 3 separate modes, including food. So we have the mode of ignorance, which is food that is rotting or stale or old, devoid of life. Then we have food in the mode of passion, which is food that is maybe too spicy, too hot, too pungent, too bitter. And these foods actually cause disease. And then you have food in the mode of goodness, which is food that is wholesome, fruits, vegetables, things that bring you life, that are full of life. And so it describes that these 3 categories you can find almost anywhere, but even in food. And so when we talk about intentional cooking, one aspect is to get ingredients that are in the mode of goodness, but to transform those ingredients into something that's next level or a spiritual level or transcendental, what you have to do is actually cook with a certain consciousness. And that consciousness is understanding that all these fruits and vegetables that we're getting is actually a gift. It's a gift to us from the Supreme, from God. And I mean, if we really think about it, it's such a miracle that we even have these fruits and vegetables. we get one tiny seed, and from this tiny seed comes a plant, and from that plant it fruits, and we have so many more seeds, but we also have these fruits that we can consume. And so when we have this consciousness of we are cooking for the Supreme, then we can transform the food into an offering. So that offering, mute for a second. Okay, so to create an offering, there's a few things that we have to think about whenever we're cooking. And the first thing is cleanliness. So we need to make sure that we are clean internally, externally, and that we also clean our fruits and vegetables, our workspace, things like that. And then the second step to creating an offering is that we make sure that we are not desiring the food until it's actually after it's actually offered. And then the third step is that we put love into it. And that's the most important step. If you don't have any other step, at least you do that step. Put a lot of love into it. Because if you think about it, what's the first thing that when you leave home, what's the first thing that you're wanting? It's your mother's cooking, because she puts so much love into it, right? And so the Supreme or God, Krishna, they don't really need curry. What they're really accepting from an offering, what anybody is really accepting from an offering, is that love that you put into it. So that's what we mean by cooking with intention, cooking with lots of love. And if you can follow these other two steps of not desiring the food and also keeping everything clean, those are also very important. So we're going to start the cooking class, and if you have any questions, there's going to be a segment in time where we're just kind of cooking cauliflower, watching cauliflower cook. So if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and just say hello, say what you need to say, and we can kind of talk. But if I don't know if all of you have the recipe sheet. But the first thing that we're going to do is, right now I have a pan with just oil. And so, let me switch gears here. I'm heating up the pan, and what we're going to do is we're going to start with a chance. And a chance is basically where you cook the spices in oil. You could probably also do it in water, but you cook the spices to where the essence come out so that you can get more flavor in your food. So we're gonna wait till this heats up. We don't want it to be cold. And let me get a spoon, 1 second. This is the cumin seeds and the fennel seeds that, if you had these packets, I sent them out to a few people that ordered them beforehand. But they're just cumin and fennel seeds. There's nothing, you could probably find them locally. And what you want to do is you want to cook them until they turn a few shades darker. You don't want to burn them. You don't want it to get too hot. But so you might be able to see it's starting to sizzle. So we're lucky because Jenny cut up all these vegetables beforehand. Normally I don't have everything so prepped. But you can kind of see they're changing colors. And if you were here, you could probably smell it. This is traditional in a lot of Indian cooking, and if you ever want to get, aromatic spices, this is a way to do it. Is you want to kind of cook them beforehand before you throw in anything else, and they're kind of changing colors. We're gonna throw in the bell pepper. And I have ginger, grated ginger. So what you want to do is you want to cook them until it becomes kind of soft. You can see that some ginger is sticking to my pan, and instead of using more oil, I'm going to just use a little bit of water. Ready? Cool. So I don't know if most of y'all saw, but I put together these little spice packets, and basically they have everything that you need. It looks like people that are on are local, so if you want some, just let me know. I can put them together for you. But I can also mail them off, no problem. And it just makes it easier, even for me, because normally I'm going through so many spices and just trying to throw a little in here, throw a little in there, but these are really nice. And a lot of cooking is just waiting for things to cook, really. This curry goes really well with rice, or you can even do quinoa or millet or anything like that. Especially now that things are getting colder, the weather is changing. So here you can see that it's soft. I don't know how well you can see that. And you don't want them to cook too far down because otherwise it'll turn into mush at the very end. So this is a good time to throw in cauliflower. And these are kind of good size. And at this point too, I'm gonna throw in the spices so that they have a time to cook and a little more water. So mix that up. A lot of vegetarian cooking is really about the spices. Like you can make anything, and if the spicing is on point, then you're pretty much good. So this may or may not need a little more water, but as for now, I'm gonna cover it and stir it occasionally. And this is just gonna allow the cauliflower to kind of steam and cook through because our chickpeas are already cooked, so we don't want to overcook them. And then it's pretty much there. All we have left is really the coconut milk and then the kale and the cilantro. And at the very end, we'll put in the lime juice. So if anybody has any questions or feedback, now is a good time while we wait for the cauliflower. Okay, cool. Well, I'm just gonna chat with you then. I think another big part of cooking is cleaning. There's a lot of times where you're super excited and you start cooking and you make a giant mess, and at the end, it's miserable because you have a huge pile of dishes. So something that took me a little bit of time to learn actually was that really clean as you go. It's a habit that you have to kind of form while cooking. Another a good thing to do while you're cooking is listen to nice uplifting music. It kind of aids with the consciousness aspect that I spoke about earlier. If you can find nice spiritual music to listen to while you're cooking, or even like a talk or a lecture or a class, those things are really nice to listen to while you're cooking. And this type of cooking, when you're cooking with intention, the way we spoke about before, it's really like a lifestyle change. Once you start learning how to cook with intention, you can also do your other activities with intention and learn how to make every activity a spiritual activity, not just cooking. Cooking and eating is such a integral part of our being. Like, do it every single day, and especially now with COVID and everything, we're cooking probably more often than before. But it's really a consciousness shift. We talk a lot about how we want to uplift our consciousness, but it also comes with practice, practicing cooking in this way, practicing doing our activities in this way of with intention, with love, with devotion, and that way our whole lives can change. All right, check on this. So you kind of see here that along with the water that we added in, there's the cauliflower is actually like what's the word? No, it's like separate, like the water is coming out of the cauliflower. I have the word in Spanish for some reason in my head. It's this still isn't ready. You can tell they're still really hard. You want them to be to the point where they're buttery soft. So we'll keep going. I'll turn this up just a little bit. Yeah, they're getting there, but they're not quite there yet. And as you can tell, like the turmeric really does give it that beautiful yellow traditional curry look. So we'll keep cooking it for a little while. Let me check the price. So is there anything in the future that you would like to maybe learn how to cook? Any suggestions or feedback? Do you like the setup? What do you guys think?
Do you think they're able to unmute themselves? We permanently mute them.
Okay. Yeah, I think we had everybody muted. So if you want to say anything, just feel free to unmute yourself. Okay, there we go.
Hare Krishna, Naradi. I really loved what you're making. I really love what you're making. I feel like coming and then honoring it once you offer it. Looks so good, and I'm sure it tastes so good also.
I thought it was a good choice because winter is, well, you know, it's hot outside now, but you know, Texas weather. But it's getting colder, and curry is just, it's really one of those staple foods that you can eat any day of the week, feel nourished.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost there. How do y'all feel about this setup? Can you view everything okay?
It's pretty. I like it. It looks like a mandala, like the pot. You can see the reflection of the fan
Oh, yeah.
in the pot, and it makes it more like a mandala. Yeah.
That is cool. I didn't notice that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it took me some time to figure out how I was going to do it. And I had this this much bigger pot, but this induction cooktop won't take it because it's like slightly warped, like the bottom isn't completely flat.
Mm-hmm.
This works out. I would like to do more of these. Just if you guys have any suggestions on what you would like to learn, or if there's anything specific that you're curious about.
Do you know how to make bread? Or like pita bread or
Yeah.
you know, the different Indian breads, paratha, or
Like
I've
roast.
tried and I'm not very successful.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, it takes some practice for sure. So I'm gonna get a few chickpeas. This is almost ready. I'll show you how soft they are in a second. So this process actually started the night before for me because I like to cook my chickpeas in the pressure cooker.
Uh-huh.
It's always really good to soak your beans or legumes. So it's our chickpeas. So these are getting there. You can tell that they kind of lost a little bit of volume. They're not like completely soft, but they're there. And when you put the spices in at that time, they really get a good chance to marinate everything and to really put that flavor into what you're cooking. And you can do this with any vegetable, really. I personally really like the chickpea and the cauliflower combo because they don't mush that easily. It's like a hearty like bite whenever but you can really do this with any vegetable as long as you have the same like quantity. So that's the beauty of this kind of curry. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna add the chickpeas. Well, first, the chickpeas are hot still. So this is coconut milk, full fat coconut milk. I'll show you the can here in a minute. It's my favorite brand because it's really thick. So you can see how thick it is. I don't know, can you see that?
Mm-hmm. Thai.
Yeah, unsweetened, full fat, not the light one. Well, this one doesn't say full fat, but it's there's this one and then a light one. And coconut already has like a sweet flavor to it a lot of times in like, from what I know, at least. I don't cook traditionally Indian food, but what I know is like in Gujarati cooking, they add a lot of sweet to things. It's like spicy and sweet. But this already has that sweetness from the coconut milk, so we're not going to add any more. Another thing that you can add is spice, like hot spice. I wouldn't add too much, but it's an option. In the spice packets that I made, I didn't add any like spicy things, just the seasoning flavor. Because not everybody can take spicy food. But once the coconut milk is warm, then I like to add the leaves so that they have a second to kind of. I like to use kale, but you can also use spinach or any green really. Swiss chard or collard greens. I like kale because it doesn't disintegrate into nothing. When you use spinach, it like just turns, unless you use like a mountain of spinach, sometimes it just turns into not very much spinach. But you can see it doesn't really take much heat. And they're already integrating in there. I'm gonna add more. This is really to your liking. The recipe calls for a handful, but you can add more if you like, or less, or you know, put your heart into it. And then lastly, we'll add the chickpeas. It's about 2 cups. When you cook them from scratch, I use about that 1 pound bag. It's about just a baggie that says 1 pound, and about half of it. So you can make this twice, or meal prep. You can already see it's taking form. I'm going to add a little more coconut though. And lastly, we have cilantro. A good handful chopped. Again, this recipe is super versatile. You can use parsley or whatever you have on hand. And we'll add like a little bit of lime juice. You don't want to cook the lime juice too much. But so in our practice, we actually have a very specific way that we offer with using certain mantras. And we can go over that some other time. But the real power is really getting that intention in there, doing it with lots of love. And when you start having that mindset, you start thinking about, well, if I'm going to offer this, then how can I get better ingredients, or how can I make the ingredients better? Maybe I can grow them. Maybe I can find somebody that grows them. And you start thinking, just like you would cook for a child or cook for a loved one. Your relationship with the food and what you're doing really changes through this conscious cooking. So this is really done there. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to cover it and offer it here in a little bit, but let's see. Does anybody have any questions or any comments?
That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle.
Sure, no problem.
Nardi.
Yeah, I mean, this is a quick one. Bread would probably take a lot longer. And it also really helps having everything prepped. Like, we have a few bowls and things to clean, but I want to cook like this all the time, having everything prepped. But yeah, I'll give you guys one last look at it. It was
beautiful.
It's pretty beautiful. Like I said, you can use any vegetable that you have. But if anybody doesn't have anything else, if you want to request a certain cooking class, I think we're probably going to do this again sometime. I don't know how often, but if you want to request anything specific, I would love to do this again with whatever you want to learn. I mean, we were cooking 2 or 3 times a week, really,
Wow.
and we've even cooked for 500
Gee.
whenever we did the festival.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I'm really excited to be able to share this with you all. This is what I've been kind of putting my heart into for a few years. So
Mm-hmm. I like that it's on YouTube. That's awesome.
yeah, the quirks of live, non-scripted, do little fun stuff. All right. Well, yeah, like I said,
It's the first intentional cooking I've seen on YouTube.
oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think you have a little niche there.
Was the description clear?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is a great initiative, Naradi. This is only going to get better and better. People are really going to look forward to this.
I think so.
Yeah, it's very much needed.
Well, I really appreciate you all joining and sharing this with me. I feel like I feel so blessed to have people that are encouraging me and I love to cook. I love to cook with this intention, and I love to share